If smartphone price double today, the factories can build a million more tomorrow. But if TEF price or corn price double today, can a farmer grow more by tomorrow? The answer is no. This difference in response speed is elasticity of a supply. Welcome to Bala Economics. Today I will make this formula so easy you will ask your freshman exam. Let's look at a first slide. It is elasticity of the supply is the degree of responsiveness of the supply to change in price. It can be defined as the percentage change in quantity supplied divided by percentage change in price. As the case with price elasticity of demand we have seen before, we can measure the price elasticity of supply using point and arc elasticity method. The point price elasticity of supply can be calculated as the ratio of proportional change in quantity supplied of commodities to a given proportion change in its price. So the formula for measuring price elasticity of supply is percentage change in quantity supplied over percentage change in price. Like elasticity of demand, price elasticity of the supply can be elastic, inelastic, unitary elastic, perfectly elastic, or perfectly inelastic. The supply is elastic when a small change on price leads to great change in supply. The price is changing in a small one, but the supply is in great one, or it is supplied more. It is inelastic or less elastic when great change in price induce only a slight change in supply. If the supply is perfectly inelastic, it will be represented by a vertical line shown as below. A perfectly inelastic or zero elasticity example is whenever the price increases, the supply of a commodity is fixed. What kind of commodity is that? You know it before, but let me give you another commodity example. Lands in the city. 200 kilometers of a land before 3 or 4 years, price was around 3 million. At the same kilometer on at the today or the today markets, it is around 5 or 6 million, but the land's amount is the same, or it is 200 kilometers, because the land amount is not changed, even though the price is changed, because there is no production of land. For example, land is not produced, it is limited, but the price is increasing as the demand increases. This leads to perfectly inelastic or zero elasticity of the supply. Infinite elasticity or perfectly elastic. Even though the price of the product is constant, the supply is increasing from time to time. It is infinite. But if slight change of price is happened under this perfectly elastic, there is no any goods that is supplied. Rather, the supply of the good is disappeared. Now we'll see market equilibrium. Having seen the demand and the supply side of the market, now let us bring demand and the supply together so as to see how the market price of the product is determined. Market equilibrium occurs when the market demand equals market supply. That is, market demand equal to market supply. Let us see the following graph. At point E, a market demand equal to market supply. It is known as equilibrium points at point E you see from this graph. The P0 is the market equilibrium, market clearing price. M is a market equilibrium or market clearing quantities. It is a market clearing quantities and a market equilibrium or market clearing price. In the above graph, any price greater than P, that is the P at equilibrium, price at equilibrium, will lead to the market surplus because supply is greater than demand. If price increase, the demand is decreased and the supply is greater than demand, leads to surplus. As the price of the commodity increase, consumer demand less of the product. On the other hand, as the price of increase, producers supply more of the goods. This is what we know from the law of demand and the law of supply. If price increase, demand decrease. If supply increase, if price increase, supply increase. Therefore, if price increase to P1, the market will have surplus of HJ. If the price decrease to P2, buyer demand to buy more and the supplier prefer to decrease their supply, leading to shortage in the market, which you call to GF. This is from the law of demand and the law of supply. If price is high, supplier is high. If price is high, demand is low. Numerical example. Let's take numerical example. Given market demand, quantity of demand equal to 100 minus 200 P, and the market supply equal to, price is equal to, market supply is equal to, price is equal to quantity of supply over 2 plus 10, and calculate market equilibrium price. Determine whether there is surplus or shortage at P is equal to 25 and P is equal to 35. First of all, we have the law that if market is at equilibrium, quantity demand equal to quantity supply. So we have to do first this one. Quantity of demand equal quantity of supply. This means 100 minus 2P minus equal to 2P minus 20. You know this one. How can, first of all, we have to calculate, we have to exchange the place of quantity supply with price. Price equal to quantity of supply over 2 plus 10. That means P minus 10 equal to Qth over 2. This is when we make crisscross 2P 2 times 10. That's resulted in what we have seen from our A at equilibrium. Quantity is equal to quantity demand is equal to quantity supplied. 100 minus 2P equal to 2P minus 20 because we can get from the market supply side. Can get this one. Then we can find first. We can exchange the place of them again, the same variable together. That means 100 plus 20 is equal to 2P plus 2P, that is 4P. 100 plus 100, 100 plus 20, 120. Then we can make it overlap, or we can make it 4P, 4 over P over 4, or 120 over 4. Then P is equal to 30 and Q is equal to 40, as you know before. Quantity of demand at P is equal to 25 is 100 minus 2 in the bracket 25 is equal to 15. The quantity of supply at P is equal to 25 is equal to 30. This is quantity demand is more than quantity of supply. Quantity of demand is 50 and the quantity of supply is 30. So there is a surplus of or shortage of around 20s. Therefore, there is a shortage of 20 units. Quantity of demand at P is equal to 35 also by calculating the amount of them, and we get quantity of supply is 15, the quantity of demand is 30. We have also surplus of 20 units. This is how we can calculate numerical market equilibrium or disequilibrium. Now let's discuss the effect of shifts in demand and supply on equilibrium. The effect of shift in demand, supply, and equilibrium. Given the demand and the supply equilibrium price and the quantities are stable. However, when the market force changes, what will happen to the equilibrium price and the quantity? Change in demand and the supply brings about change in the equilibrium price level and the equilibrium quantities. Number one, when the demand change and the supply remain constant, what is happening? Let's see. Factors such as change in income, tastes, and the prices of the related good will lead to change in demand. Demand is changed if income increase, the demand for product increase. Because of that, it's changed. The figure below shows that the effect of change in demand and the resultant equilibrium price in the quantities. The demand is DD is the demand curve and the SS is the supply curve. So we can get from this one. Then it is elasticity of the supply is the degree of responsiveness of the supply to change in price. It can be defined as the percentage change in quantity supplied divided by percentage change in price. As the case with price elasticity of demand we have seen before, we can measure the price elasticity of supply using point and arc elasticity method. The point price elasticity of supply can be calculated as the ratio of proportional change in quantity supplied of commodities to a given proportion change in its price. So the formula for measuring price elasticity of supply is percentage change in quantity supplied over percentage change in price. Like elasticity of demand, price elasticity of the supply can be elastic, inelastic, unitary elastic, perfectly elastic, or perfectly inelastic. The supply is elastic when a small change on price leads to great change in supply. The price is changing in a small one, but the supply is in great one, or it is supplied more. It is inelastic or less elastic when great change in price induce only a slight change in supply. The other one is effect of change in demand, supply, and equilibrium in the other side. Number two, when supply changes and the demand remain constant. Now demand is remain constant. Before this time, supply is constant, but now it is in opposite. Change in supply are brought by change in technical knowledges in the factor price. The following graph explains the effect of change in supply. Look, SS and the demand DD intersect at point E, we said in between two. The equilibrium is in between two. Where supply and the demand are equal at OM quantity at OP equilibrium price, given the demand, if the supply increases, the supply curve shifts to the right, SS1. The new supply curve, which intersects demand curve at E2, E1, reduces the equilibrium price from OP to OP1, and they increase the equilibrium quantity from OM to OM1. On the contrary, means on opposites, when the supply fails, the supply curve moves to the left, SO to S2, and they intersect the DD curve at point E2, raising the equilibrium price from OP to OP2 and reducing the equilibrium quantity from OM to OM2. Look on the graph. Number 3, effect of combined changes in demand and supply. When we combine both, when both demand and supply increase, the quantity of the product will increase definitely, but it is not certain whether the price will rise or fall. If increasing in demand greater than an increasing in supply, then the price goes up. And if an increasing in supply greater than an increasing in demand, that means supply increase, the price fell, but the quantity increase. If the increasing in demand equal increasing in supply, then the price remains the same. When demand and supply declines, the quantity, as you know, decline or decrease. But the change in price will depend upon relative fall in demand and the supply. When the fall in demand is more than the fall in supply, the price will decrease because the fall in demand is more than the fall in supply. That is the law of the price, the law of the demand size. Price increase, demand decrease. On the other hand, when the fall in supply is more than the fall in the demand, the price will rise because this is also the law of supply. Price increase, supply increase. If both demand and supply decline in the same ratio, there is no change in equivalent price, but the quantity decrease. This is very. Thank you for watching my program. In our upcoming session, we will explore Chapter 3, Theory of Consumer Behavior, okay? Have a nice time. Subscribe or like and share